So things are improving, and especially because the rural economy is bouncing back and because the borrowers are needing to restart their businesses. So there is, and collections have improved in June. I think they have reached 50% in June, and in July and August, they will certainly get better. Also because the microfinance companies have reached out to their borrowers and engaged with them, explained to them the costs of moratorium, explained to them what happens. And those who are willing are beginning to pay back, which is a really great sign.
Okay, so collections have improved and people are willing to pay back, which is a great sign. Let's also get Aalok Patel, because he does manage the business himself. He's the Executive Director of Arman Financial Services. Aalok, what is the feedback? I mean, how are collections right now? Have they improved compared to what we've seen a couple of months ago? And more importantly, is this something that is sustainable, this improvement in collections?
First of all, yeah, thanks a lot for having me. So in the context of my company and the industry itself, I think collections were a lot better than anticipated in the month of June. So as Harsh said, I think everybody is reporting numbers 50% and above. The important thing right now to do is that, mostly the microfinance industry is dealing in the rural segment. And it's important not to pressure them to restart their payments, let their businesses get back online. But it's also important to educate them about the consequences of the moratorium. So in the context of my company, we were at about in the month of June, which was far better than expected. In the month of April and May, I think pretty much everybody gave a blanket moratorium unless the customer opted out for it specifically. And there was also the logistical issues about going down to the field level to collect the money during the lockdowns. So already in the first 7 days of July, things are much better than they were in the previous month. So I think this is sustainable, and the rural economy is, I think, much less impacted than the urban side, especially when you talk about agri and allied agri that has virtually been unaffected during the lockdown.
Right. Mr. Patel, collection efficiency now stands where? I mean, you said the 7 days of July have been pretty good. Where does the collection efficiency stand now for you?
So in the first 7 days, we have reached somewhere around 72%. Personally speaking, I don't have a lot of information on the industry, but informally, when I talk to our peers, I think everybody is seeing better recovery in July than they were seeing in June.
Mr. Srivastava, across the industry, now in July, do you have the numbers? Where is collection efficiency at? Also, if you can provide us with some color, which sort of parts of the country is the are the collections at the highest? Where are things still lagging far behind? I mean, some qualitative color would help. I mean, if you have the latest numbers, sir.
So we don't have the latest numbers, and as an association, we don't track the collection efficiencies. We also rely on what people tell us. Therefore, I said June it will hit 50%, and July and August will certainly be better. But if you spread out across the country, most parts of the country are doing reasonably well. In certain places where there was, say, a natural calamity, like in West Bengal or Odisha, things are a little tougher. And also in certain urban areas, because microfinance is, of course, also available in urban areas. So where there is severe lockdowns and travel, for example, in the city of Mumbai itself, or in any other urban areas, there would be less collections right now and less ability to engage because the staff cannot travel, the borrowers are not willing to meet. And in certain pockets, there may be some challenges, especially if the villagers are saying that we would not like you to come here. So then you talk over the phone, you try and still meet with them, and you build a relationship, and at least to explain what the lockdown is and what the moratorium means. But across the country, as I said, rural India is doing well. So rural across the country, there has been a reasonable set of collections.
Aalok, can you throw some more color on where you're seeing a pickup? Because the areas that you specialize in is two-wheeler finance and MSME finance. Where do you see the highest amount of growth? And of course, growth has slowed down because of the challenges that we're facing. But what are you penciling in for FY21?
So of course, whatever projections we had during for FY21 are essentially thrown out of the window at this point. We are starting disbursement in the month of July. There is obviously a lot of credit demand in all three of our divisions, which include microfinance, two-wheeler, and MSME loans. I think there is a little bit of a fear factor in the industry in general, and I think in the entire financial services space. So credit or underwriting has tightened quite a bit. And I think most of the lenders are sitting on excess liquidity at this point. Well, I won't say most, but a lot of them are, especially the larger players. The thing is that I think it's essential to return credit back to the rural economy. A lot of our customers, have spent their working capitals during the lockdowns for their personal sustenance. So they need a little bit of credit to kickstart their businesses, and certainly we are there to provide that. I think most MFIs are probably going to start disbursement this month, at least in areas which they feel are relatively safer than others. But in the context of two-wheelers, in MSME, of course, things are picking up quite rapidly. And I don't foresee this to be a demonetization kind of level event in the, in the coming few quarters. So I think things will pick up quite a bit. And the rural economy is much more resilient than the urban economy. So they have a tendency to bounce back quite quickly.
Okay. A lot of your companies, a lot of companies like yours have made provisions because of the, on account of COVID. So even I was going through your previous presentation as on March, you have increased your provisions to 4 crores in Q4 as against 0.7 crores in Q4 of FY19. So provisions have definitely gone up. Do you see more amount of provisions that you'll have to take in the quarters to come? And any kind of asset quality stress that you're facing at the moment, do you think it could worsen?
From an RBI perspective, right now, everything is on pause until the moratorium gets over. I think most people have proactively taken certain provisions in Q4 and will continue to take provisions in the future quarter. But those are over and above what is required on a regulatory basis. And I think it's prudent to do that, start building up the provisions, because it's obvious that there will be some level of hit. Now, how much of a hit is anybody's guess at this point until the moratorium gets over. It's very hard to put down estimates. I'm being conservatively optimistic that things will not be as bad as they were during demonetization, because demonetization basically impacted the cash economy, which is the rural side to begin with. For us, it seems the feedback that I have received during the month of June is that the harvest was good, agriculture is doing well. There's a lot of government welfare schemes also, which are helping our customers as well. So hopefully the hit is not as large as during demonetization, but it's prudent to take the provisions when there is profit available. And I think the credit loss will get spread over at least 2 fiscal years. Because until August, I don't think that you have to start recording DPDs or anything like that. And post that also, you have 90 days probably extended to 180 days for NPA recognition. So already you are into FY22 at that point. So I think most financial services will start building up provisions early on to avoid taking a big hit in 1 or 2 quarters.
Right. Mr. Srivastava, could you tell us across the industry, I mean, you get sort of data from your members.
Sure.
What is the total MFI book in India at right now, and what percentage of it is under moratorium at this point?
So the total MFI book is about 2,35,000 crores, 58 to 59 million borrowers, and therefore about 300 million families. And of course, the percentage of moratorium keeps changing. So obviously in April and May, it would have been 90% plus would have been under moratorium. It is falling now, but it is not 100% collection efficiency. We'll know this answer only in September. But the broader question, which is, I agree with Aalok, is that microfinance has a resilient, people pay back. Even after 6 months after demonetization, quite a few people paid back their loans, especially because they want to take fresh loans. And in this case, the industry is very close-knit. There is a code for responsible lending across all lenders. And every lender knows, every borrower knows that if she doesn't pay back to any one lender, she will not get fresh loans from anyone else. So we expect that thanks to all of this, over time, there will be a lot of repayments, even though there may be a few technical defaults. But we have seen this after liquidity, after natural disasters, that 3 months later, 5 months later, people start paying back their monies. So in a sense, this should be, as I agree with Aalok, that
Mr.
it should be a more resilient.
Yeah. Okay. Borrowers do pay back. That's the experience in terms of what history has taught us.